Peace to all who wants to make a change for themselves from 7 sacrifices. And today I want to go over happiness. I want to go over how to break yourself out of a stage where you're not happy so you can go into that stage of you being happy. I understand we're in the era nowadays where it's hard to be happy. It's hard to find the joy in everything that you do. It's hard to find the joy in anything. But that's the problem that we're going to have to solve today. We're going to have to find the joy in everything. Nowadays, being depressed is normalized. Being depressed is actually, to an extension, a trend. And that's what the goal is today, to break you guys out of that trend, as well as break myself out that trend if I ever was to fall to that level again. Because life is all about cycles. I'm not perfect. Judgment is a confession of character. We're going to get onto that in another video. Right now, I'm going to tell you why I need to stop judging. First thing that judging does for you is setting expectation on other people when you need to set expectation on yourself. When you judge other people, you're not really judging other people, you're judging yourself. When you judge other people on how they supposed to act, you're always going to be disappointed. If this right here grew the way I wanted it to grow, or if I say every plant in the world needs to grow out the way I want it to grow, I'll be a disappointed person, because in my mind, I want this to have something like eat on. See, like that, if I was to judge that tree, I'd be like, oh no, you worthless. You worthless because you ain't got no fruit on you. You worthless because you ain't bringing nothing for me except for oxygen. See, right there, that's limiting and making myself angrier, because this tree right here ain't gonna give no fruit. So if I expect that branch to produce fruit, that tree, if I expect this tree right here to produce fruit every time I see it, then every time I see it, I'm gonna make myself more upset and more upset, as well as other people. You can't put your judgment on other people, because their route is totally different to yours. The way that they feed themselves, the way that they provide to the world is way different than what you can expect or what you should expect. You shouldn't expect anything from people. You shouldn't even judge people for the reason why they produce what they produce. Even if somebody was in the wrong, you can't judge them for being in the wrong. You don't know where their headspace at. You've been taught these lessons. The fact you watching this video explains and shows me and to yourself, it should show you to yourself that you are open for change. A lot of people ain't open for change. A lot of people ain't open to see a different side of themselves. See what I'm saying? Be easy on yourself. Be easy on yourself as well as other people. It is in hands with the judgment part. When you make a mistake, don't be too hard on yourself because you made that mistake. When somebody else makes a mistake, don't be too hard on them because they made that mistake. Mistakes are meant to happen. Mistakes are there in our life for us to grow. If we don't make a mistake, we won't know from the mistake. If we was all perfect in this world, then it wouldn't be no world. We would have been involved, we wouldn't be here. But the cycle of mistakes and learning from the mistakes must continue for the balance in life to be where it is. You can't be hard on yourself as well. I fall with that myself. I'm always hard on myself. I'm hard on myself because growing up I was always hard on myself. Growing up, everybody else was always hard on me. So it ended up transversing into my adulthood, the fact that I'm hard on myself. And I got to learn that the work that I'm doing is worth it. The work that I'm putting out is worth it. Is you want to try new things every day. You want to keep on putting yourself in a position to experience new life. Keep putting yourself in position to experience something new. Because I don't know about you, but with me, when I experience something or I get into something, I'm on it hard because I'm excited about it. You never know what the outcome is going to be. You never know what it's going to bring forth. So that's why I'm very excited for the things that I start over that's new. So should you. You should get into yourself trying new things every day, because you never know the excitement that may bring to your life. Just allow yourself to say yes. If you're moving righteously, when opportunities are given, you should be able to say yes. That's a lesson. Always say yes. Always open yourself up for new doors, new opportunities, new whatever you think. Open yourself up for new. But if you're closed off and you say no, 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 then your only outcome will be no. When in your mind, your outcome may be something different, but the path to get there is what it's going to take for you to get there. Use your creative energy. Nothing make anybody happier than seeing their creation. You want to always use your creative power, because that's your God power. When you use your creative power and you see it manifested, because it starts in the thought. So when you see that thought manifested into the physical, you are going to be way more happy than what you can see. Always use your creative power. every day. Every day, no excuses. I'm not saying if you can do it or if you can't. No, use your creative power. I don't care if that's just drawing something. I don't care if that's just envisioning something. I don't care if that's just making a beatbox or a freestyle with your mouth. Create something new every day to pull that happiness and that God energy about yourself, because that's what you're going to need in order to flourish. Not to live like a human, but to live like a God. You got to pull that God energy without yourself. Most people is high up because they created something that was benefiting them, and as sure dang well would benefit somebody else. You gotta, and the only reason you're gonna benefit somebody else is to think like your God power. Use your God power, because if it makes you happy just seeing your creation manifested, imagine how it's gonna make somebody else knowing that your creation is there. Even planting, seeing something that you plant rise up from the ground, it's like having a kid. Doesn't nothing else bring joy than having a kid? That's creation. That's your God power. Use it daily and don't stop using it. Connecting with your inner child. Don't judge me for saying that, like I said in the first point, and say, oh, we adults, why we gotta stay in tune with our inner child? Your inner child was the part of you that was free. Your inner child was the part of you that was stress free, worry free, didn't fear anything. You wasn't fearing anything when you was a child unless you was showed an image of the bad things that it can do to you. You got to connect with your inner child so you don't have that fear no more. So you don't have that worry, that stress, knowing that everything's going to be all right. Because as a kid, everything's going to be all right. Even as an adult, if you're in tune with yourself, you understand that everything's going to be all right. No matter how bumpy you get, no matter how ugly you get, it's going to be all right. The end result is going to be beautiful. Even if it's death, you want to embrace failure. Don't dwell on it. You want to learn from your mistakes, as well as let go of the past. See, when you fail, you need to look back at everything that got you in that position to where you fail, knowing that they couldn't be in a position where they wanted to be. Instead of retracing their steps and embracing it, to be like, look, man, I ain't never gonna do that again because I don't want it to happen to me again. I ain't never gonna be that type of person again. I knew the consequences of being that person was. Embrace your failure. Don't dwell on it. As well as the past. You can't dwell on the past. The past ain't going. Just like how they say in the movies, oh, you safe now. He can't hurt you no more. He can't hurt you no more. The past can't hurt you no more unless you let it. Unless you let the thought of your past failure, of your past anything, come back into your life and control what's going to happen for you moving forward. We all made mistakes. But the thing is, you can't let your mistakes hold you as a person of today, because it's going to stop you today if you let your mistakes hold you. You can't let your mistakes hold you. You got to become a better person and thrive to become a better person, and know that your past, oh yeah, take it as a stepping stone, because now a lot of people have to go through that lesson that you done already learned. Look at it like that. I'm not saying that's what it is, but look at it like that. Like, oh snap, I learned that lesson. Instead of me going back to learn that lesson, because that's how the universe treats you. Once you fail to learn a lesson, the universe is going to give you some grace period of time. It's going to come and smack you with that lesson again. So instead of you being like, nah, I don't want to learn that lesson again, I learned, take that stepping stone and be like, I ain't going to go back to that past person who I was, or even let that past affect me, because I knew how to feel, just the feeling of how past situations made us feel. Let that be the motivation for you not to go to feel that way again. Stop finding reasons to be negative. Stop finding the negative in something. Stop seeing the negative in the picture. We all know a person who every time they see something, they bring up the negative. Or just like this, hey man, I'm finna take this career path. Oh man, I don't know about that, boy. You know there's too many people out here doing that. There's too many niggas out here already doing that. Mind you, they ain't never tried to do that before. They ain't never made a step to find their own way. But they gonna tell you it's too many people doing what you doing. Don't find reasons to be negative if you're that person. Don't find a reason, even if there's some people watching this video saying, oh man, who this nigga? This nigga don't know what he talking about. You don't know what he talking about. He just blabbering. Why you finding reasons to be negative? Become that positive energy. Because when you in that negative energy, everything else happens that's negative. Don't become a criticizer, become an energizer. Energize the moment and point out the positive. Don't point out the negative, point out the points that could be positive and allow people to become positive. But if you point out the negative in every situation, it's going to make people start to stay away from you. Because nobody like people that's negative. I sure don't. Optimism. You want to get rid of the when it rains, it pours mentality. Because if you're not optimistic about situations and you're in the it rains, it pours mentality, then when it rains, you will see it pour. A lot of people, when it rains, they don't see it pour because they inside. So when it rains, take your inside and don't let it pour. You see what I'm saying? Get rid of that mentality of, oh man, when it rains, it pours. Nah. Because if you go on in the day, you wake up, you got a bad morning, or you going through the day, and it's just somebody in the traffic is getting in front of you, that's going to piss you off. Road rage has to be the most perfect example of letting energy carry from you from the house to the real environment. We in cars, people in a rush, people got to do what they got to do. People are willing to make that jump in front of you because you ain't even keeping up with what you're supposed to be keeping up. So don't let the mentality carry over into your life. Be optimistic about situations. Learn how to see the great in situations. You know what I'm saying? Just like it's these leaves around here with holes in them. I could be like, oh man, that leaf ugly. You know what I'm saying? But instead, I'm be like, nah, that leaf is beautiful because it's feeding the caterpillars that's coming around here eating off the leaf. And that energy right there is going to transfer on throughout the day. So when I see the rest of the nature, I'm like, oh, I'm just in awe. Learn how to be optimistic. Learn how to see the good in all. I don't care if it's bad. I don't care if it's the worst thing that ever happened. I don't care if you got cheated on. Be optimistic and understand that, oh man, I'm away from this person. I got a reason to get away from you. Let go of the outcome and enjoy the process. When you let go of the outcome and you start to learn how to enjoy the process, you will become happy about it second. When you start to enjoy the pain that you go through because you know it's molding you to a better person, when you start to enjoy the lessons you got to learn, because those lessons that you learn can be passed down to other people who's trying to go that route or at least want to see what it's about. When you learn to enjoy the molding stages, that's when you can love creating. Just like what I said with creation. When you enjoy every stroke of the brush, that's when you fall in love with creating. But if you only worrying about how the picture gonna turn out, you're gonna rush it and it's not gonna come out to your satisfaction. You're gonna always be unsatisfied because when you rush a process, it's like rushing growth. Look at us, for example. A lot of us nowadays were rushed to grow up, but didn't grow up right here. We wasn't able to enjoy the process of what we learned. We were just told, oh, no, you grown, you got to do it this type of way. Oh, no, you grown, you got to do it this type of way. Once you 18, you got to do this, 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 and that. But you didn't even get right here what was supposed to get right here. Start learning how to enjoy the process instead of that outcome. Because you know what the outcome is. The outcome is what you want it to be. The outcome is what you see when you meditating. So if you're rushing to see the outcome of what you want the outcome to be, then you in for a ride. You in for a ride of despair, of loss of hope. It's 7 sacrifices. It's peace to all. Once again, this is a video to myself, as well as my reincarnated self, future self, even myself in another vessel. If you ever lose yourself in the process of finding yourself and your desires and going after your desires of this world, you always reflect to this. I'm going to be right here for you. It's peace to all.